These are happy tears. Times are tough these days. I mean, it's hard making, you know, a few bucks go a long way. And yes, for my American friends, loony, toony, $1, $2. That's why we can never go to establishments that get paid in, you know, singles. So what do you do? Well, I'm going to go over a few things that you can do to help ease the financial burden a little bit of camping with your Teardrop trailer, because I want you to keep more of this in your pocket. Yes, our money looks like Monopoly money. First things first, maintenance. I know it's easy to put stuff off like oil changes and, you know, getting heavy tire changes and all that stuff. But the way I look at it is I would rather make a $100 investment than a $500 tow truck expense to a garage, who's then going to go, oh, well, you need to do this and this and this and this and this. The smoother your vehicle runs, the more efficient it's going to run. So you're going to be better on fuel economy, your gas is going to go farther, your trail is going to run smoother, so it all kind of adds up. Properly inflated tires go a long way to helping with that gas mileage, and it can minimize tire punctures and ruptures and all that fun stuff when you hit a fun bump. I know, hey, watch the Mythbusters. They did a whole thing on tire inflation. Good driving. Now, I don't just mean 10 and 2, but, you know, nice, easy acceleration and deceleration. I mean, if you've got a truck or a vehicle that's maybe not the most powerful thing, you're gonna kind of be forced to have those slow accelerations anyway. But you don't want to do the whole, you know, foot on the gas and then up to speed. Easy starts, you know, easy decelerations, and that will certainly help, you know, stretch that gas budget a little bit further. Speaking of gas, loyalty programs. Now, let me just put on my tinfoil hat on this one. I know some people feel very strongly about them because, I mean, let's face it, loyalty programs, social media, all they're doing is scraping information. And yes, it may not be as unique as, you know, Bob Smith at 123 Main Street, you know, every Thursday he's buying an extra large pizza. I understand that people might be uncomfortable about that, and that's fine. I am the last person to judge people for wanting to throw a monkey wrench into the social media oversights. But if you want to capitalize on it, definitely look at that. Our last trip out west, I paid for almost the entire gas expense using gas cards, prepaid gas cards that I get through Aeroplan. Yeah, if I have to buy gas anyway, I might as well get something back. And then you can also get, you know, some programs will have, you know, lower insurance rates, deals for accommodation. So if there's a time that you just want a hotel for the night because you want hot running water all night long, you might be able to save a few bucks that way. Look at different apps that are available to you. I basically have Gas Buddy going all the time. And I mean, you know, am I gonna go way out of my way for a 1 cent difference? No. I noticed like the biggest difference is state and provincial lines. It's like as soon as you cross that line, there's a 5 cent difference one way or the other. It's like, should I fill up now or can I wait 50 clicks? And sometimes that can be quite significant. There's also places to stay. So Expedia, again, if you want your hotel room, although I will say sometimes you get a better deal if you call the hotel directly. If you're staying with dogs, I would definitely recommend calling the hotel itself, because what's on the website and the reality is sometimes very different. Sometimes better, sometimes not so good for you. Like I've seen some where they'll say there's no pet fee, and then you get there and they're like, oh no, there's a pet fee or a pet deposit. Or they'll say, yeah, pets are allowed, but then you get there and the fine print is, you know, there's one under 20 pounds. And sometimes, and I've had luck with this, you call and you say, you know, what's your pet, you know, policy? And they say, well, we take 2. It's like, oh, that's too bad, I have 3. And they say, oh, so you have 2. And then you get there, and as long as you make sure you get that person's name, and then you'd be like, hey, I spoke to this person, they said it's cool. Or sometimes I'll check in and they'll do the same thing. Or you'll get a better rate when you call them. So whatever hotels you're looking at, use apps like Expedia and stuff to do the research and then actually call them and speak to them. And sometimes, yeah, it's cheaper to book through Expedia and you get Expedia points. Sometimes it's cheaper to book through the hotel directly. Or if you're camping, you can use apps like iOverlander or Campendium, and you can find places that maybe aren't quite so obvious, or boondocking sites if that's what you're into. I have found some amazing municipal sites that are just like they're campsites, but they're put on through the town, or in one case it was this incredible, it was like a closed down campground, but it was still being used for camping. So there were no facilities, but it was like, I don't know, maybe 100 acres, and I think we were the only ones there. And it was a little nerve-wracking because it was all these like almost pods of forest. It was phenomenal. It was quiet except for the train that went by a few times. Almost like being in the middle of nowhere, even though you're in this small town. Another good app to have is if you're traveling with companions like I do, with places where they can go. So things like Bring Fido is good for that. But it's crowdsourced, so take everything there with a bit of a heavy pinch of salt. So staying connected, we all need to stay connected, because heaven forbid we leave this thing, you know, oh God, my family needs to know where I am. No, they don't. That's why I travel. I used to go across the border and just take the ding for the roaming fees until I learned about eSIMs. Or I think it's electronic SIM. This is phenomenal. This is a great option. Or if you're stuck to roaming fees to a geographical area, you might be stuck to a state or a province or whatever, but you can get this eSIM, and depending on the program, depending on the company, depending on what your needs are. I mean, I had one, it was 21 days, unlimited data for 50 bucks. Sorry, I forgot that part, 50 bucks. Unlimited data in and of itself is phenomenal. And I went with Holofly. There were some limitations. It was only good for one device. So it's not like I could tether my computer to my phone and then use that. But for my purposes, for that trip, it was great. If you don't want to do the eSIM, or if you want to save data while you're in your own place and you've got your map on, what I've sometimes done is punch in your destination, get the map going, and then switch it to airplane mode. It may not update as quickly as it would if the data was on, but you're saving your data. I do that like just around here. If I'm going someplace, I'm not gonna get up-to-date traffic. If I don't drive faster than the phone can go, it works really well. Always obey the speed limit. Now, supplies. I'll admit I am very bad for compartmentalizing purposes of things. So when I think camping stuff, I have to go to a camping store. I have to go to the camping section of a big box store. So it's taken me a little bit to kind of expand my thinking a little bit and kind of going a little bit outside the box. Don't be afraid to look at things like buy food in bulk and dehydrate it if you have that option. Or if you're buying dehydrated food, buy it in bulk if you can. Buy stuff on sale if it doesn't have an expiry date. If you've got other friends and you want to, everyone chip in and buy like a huge quantity of freeze-dried foods and then divvy it up amongst yourselves, that can be substantial savings right there. And as long as you have it in a place where it's going to stay cool, dry, and away from creepy crawlies and critters, that stuff will last for probably longer than you will. Don't be afraid to look at secondhand things. Heck, my trailer is secondhand. I got it off of Kijiji. Look at stuff like that. Look at stoves off of Kijiji, or the Blackstones, or the Greystones, or the smaller ones. Any other kind of griddle like that. Don't be afraid to kind of look at options. And if it was any kind of safety equipment, mounts or anything like that, I probably would splurge and go for the secure stuff. Let's not forget the good old dollar store. Dishes at the dollar store, food wraps, hangers, bins for keeping food and clothing in, keeping those all contained. Like, that's great. You can get all that at the dollar store for pretty cheap. Don't forget to hit your clearance racks of your local stores, sporting goods stores. Like, they all have to offload their end of season stuff. Take advantage of that. So that's it. So let me know what you think below. Are any of these tips surprising? Are you going to be using any of them? What's yours? Share it. This community is growing, and thank you so much for that. It seems like every time I open up YouTube, there's some new friends in the community, and I really appreciate. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. I can't say enough how much I appreciate that you take the time out of your busy day to follow us, to join us on our adventures. And now that it's getting warm, we can actually go out on some adventures. It means a ton. I know I say it every time, and that's because it's true. I really do appreciate These are happy tears. Happy tears. Don't judge me for it. If you see any value to this, please like, subscribe. Well, I'm hoping you're subscribing. After that, shameful display of emotion. Share it with anyone who you think might get some benefit from this. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and we'll see you out there. Thanks for hanging out with us. Safe travels.